What is the most like challenging objection handling that you get? And do you have any tips for that?
Here's the thing. Objection handling, one of the keys to objection handling is understanding how open they are. Is openness. As long as someone is open, you can objection handle, you can loop forever, and you can just reframe and reframe and reframe, and it's really smooth, it's really good. The problem is when people just close off, when they just put their guard up and they start to just they're not open anymore. There is not a specific objection that I cannot overcome. Is when someone is literally closed off. I don't know if that's the right word, but they are intentionally not wanting to listen, not wanting to view things from a different perspective. Because at that point, you are not letting me help you. You're refusing to get help from anybody exterior. Does that make sense? So that is the challenge. That is the biggest challenge when someone is like, yeah, I just want to do things my way. I don't need opinion of anybody. I'm going to do this, and this is how I'm going to do things. Which at the same time is also a red flag of is also an indicative of how good of a client this person can be. Because if this person is not willing to listen to us, is not willing to hear things from a different perspective, what does that say about the person when it comes to as a client? What does that say about this person becoming a client? Is this going to be the type of client that's going to adopt everything we do, going to question everything, is going to want to reinvent the wheel, is going to follow the process? So the way they are in the sales call tells you a lot about how they're going to be as a client,
Yeah, or even as a closer at that point, right?
or even as a closer at that point. Yeah, that's really funny. When I speak with closers, right, and they're talking to me about potentially hiring a sales coach or potentially hiring me as a sales coach, and we're having a conversation, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let me think about it." A closer is telling me, "Let me think about it," and I was like, "I bet you get a lot of think about it, right?" Yeah, because you give a lot of think about it. So what are you talking about? This is
Yeah.
lot of is a mirror, right? So yeah,
Well,
it
I guess
is.
essentially it doesn't matter what the objection is, more just the person and their circumstance.
It matters the objection because obviously, as you can see, it's not something that you're gonna learn in 1 week. It is a scope, right? You have money, partner, time, fear. And you need to learn each and every one, but of course you go one by one. But when you reach to a point where you know how to handle each and every single one of them, you know how to handle them. So it's literally like tools in your tool belt that you know how to use for each circumstance, right? The thing is that you might not you sorry, the thing is that you might know how to handle an objection, so therefore you execute your reframe. Not all the time is going to work. Why? Because the other person at the other end might not be listening, might not be wanting to listen. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I always say be attached to the process, not to the sale. Attached to the process, not to the sale. Because if you execute your process to the best of your abilities, the majority of the people will go over the line, but not everybody. All these reframes that you have in objection handling, they are not meant to be there to work 100% of the time. They are meant to be there to work the majority of the times. But you're gonna do it perfectly, and a lot of times it's not gonna work. And that is not because it doesn't work. It's because it's not meant to work all the time. It's only meant to work the majority of the times.
Okay.
Yeah. So the most important thing always in your career in sales, even if you're an appointment setter, if you're an SDR, if you're a triage, if you're a closer, you're going to have outcome KPIs. It's important. That's why they are there. But you cannot attach yourself or your identity to those numbers. You need to attach to the process. And every single interaction, you need to go, did I execute my process the best of my ability? Yes or no? Yes. Perfect. Anything that I could have improved? Yes, this is perfect. Great. I don't care about the outcome because you don't control the outcome. You can influence it, but you don't control it. It's very important. And the same happens in life, Gabby. In life, in this journey you are in. Like you cannot control. That's why when people say, and I've been guilty of this. When I was 22, I said I need to be a millionaire at 27. Why? I don't know, because I said so. It's like, and now what? Now if I'm not a millionaire at 27, that means that I am miserable or what? Do you know? So we just put all these kinds of things on top of. We're so hard on ourselves in that sense. And the thing is that if you put yourself goals and you attach yourself to things that you cannot control, For example, like that, I need to be a millionaire at this time specifically, which I cannot control that. That's a recipe for suffering because you don't have control over that, right? So it's constantly going to be suffering because you're trying to hold into something that is not within your reach. But if the psychology is, I'm going to execute my process and I'm going to do my best to the best of my abilities, and I'm not going to give up every single day. And if I do that, eventually, I don't know when, the outcome will show up. The outcome will appear. So I'm going to focus on the process. Then every day, if you did the process, you did everything at the best of your ability, you're winning, you celebrate, you're good. That's a more healthy approach because you're doing things in your control, you're rewarding yourself for executing things that are under your control, and that is going to create momentum. And that momentum is going to lead to the results.
Okay, so when we look at the people that actually did achieve this millionaire before 27, I think their process is more like they're a little bit more crazier, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah, no. So there's something that is very important to understand here. It's very important, and I want to share this with you because I also been in that situations, like having those conversations with myself. These people that they've achieved these amazing things at such a very young age. Here's the thing, and I genuinely believe in this. And feel free to chime in. It's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. Okay, success requires a certain degree of luck. That's my belief. Success requires a certain degree of luck. Someone that goes and says, no, there's no it's zero luck, it's 100% your actions. No, because you could have born in the freaking jungle, in the African the desert,
no, no, no.
and you born in a first country world country. What is that? You could have had horrible parents, childhood, where they just completely abandoned you, and you have a father and a mother. So
Yeah.
what is that? That is luck. It's literally luck. It's like you
Yeah.
speak English. You're a native speaker. Whoever is a native speaker. I had to learn this language. So what is that? So all these variables that we don't control, it's just in the hands of luck. Is everything luck? No, because you do have some control. So these people that these got millionaires are 24, 25, 26, 22, 19. Yes, there's a lot of hard work put into it, but there's a degree of luck.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. You don't have to agree with me, but that's what I believe.
No, that actually makes sense because they like even took a really big leap. They had luck on their side. They did the right thing at the right time. Everything aligned for them to get that result.
Yeah.
Because some people are like working their ass off for years and still not achieving it. So it's,
Yeah. So that's why I say, and then there's different quotes and different things. There's a very famous quote that says, luck, I believe luck is when preparation meets opportunity or something like that. Or succeed. Something like that. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So we live in a world full of opportunities and possibilities. Opportunities are happening in front of our eyes every single day. But you might just not be ready yet to just take an opportunity that's in front of you, and that's okay. That's totally okay. So that's why it's not 100% luck. There's a degree of luck, and the rest is preparation, is work, is skill, is what are you doing. For example, in this meeting, we have Joey, and I remember when I had the conversation with Joey, the first conversation with Joey. Joey was not in a good spot, and he decided to burn the boats. Right? It could have gone wrong, and probably all of us would be in situations where we burned the boats when it went wrong. And there is a graveyard out there of people that decided to burn the boats and they wasn't successful. But it's what you do afterwards, right? Is what do you do? What is the alternative? And that's why there are all of the success stories that you see, guys, from people that we remember yet to this day. Why we remember them? We don't remember them because they hit success in the first go. That's not specifically why we remember them. Is quite frankly the opposite. We remember those legends because of the drawbacks that they had, and they yet still decided to continue to push forward. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what. So Abraham Lincoln. Gosh, the amount of literally like shit that person needed to go through, like, isn't in the internet. You can study that person, that leader. It's crazy. Walt Disney. He was like, I believe Walt Disney. He was. What is this word? Traicionado. Oh my goodness.
What
Betrayed.
is that?
Yeah, betrayed. Yeah, he
Oh.
was like betrayed 3 times in his business career with big partners. He was like he's like tons of time. Like you can go and watch it on the internet. Like Walt Disney, like these cartoons and from Walt Disney, like he got rejected from other companies 20 times or something like that. It's like I have this idea for this. No, yeah, no, not here, not here, not here. It was insane. That's why we remember Walt Disney. It's because of everything he needed to go through. So
What was
yeah,
the winning contract, I guess?
the winning attempt, so to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to, you can just do a search on Google, but it was insane. It's just I'm not sure, but I know it was like crazy, like a lot of failed attempts, like a lot.
Yeah, I also remember, I think the Harry Potter author was rejected like 27 times.
That's why we
Yeah.
remember those people. We remember those people because of their tenacity, because of their unwillingness to give up. And that's when success is inevitable, because I'm not going to give up. So it might not be this opportunity, it might not be this chance, but it's gonna be one. One of my attempts is just gonna make everything blow up.
Yeah, that's fair. And your success timing is not in your hands. So it could happen like maybe 5 years later or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And think about it as well. Just think about it. Let's just break that down. Okay, so I want to be successful. I want to be successful tomorrow. Okay. Or not tomorrow. Let's say like in the next 3 years. Cool. That's what I want. Now, what happens if for whatever reason your time is in 5 years? For whatever reason. And because you wasn't able to achieve success in 3 years, now you give up. You lost. Like it's over. Game over. Right? It's just it doesn't serve you.
Yeah.
really doesn't serve you.
Yeah, that's true. Because then you're going to end up being miserable for the 2 years, which like was unneeded in your life.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why one of the things that I've learned in my journey, even to this date, like I'm still use that because I'm still on a journey. Leaving my 9 to 5 was great. It was amazing. I'm super grateful for what I've been able to accomplish. But once you get into a point where you're full-time remote closer, you make a living, you work remote, online, remote, you make decent amount of money, you're not gonna stop there. Nobody's gonna stop there because the human being is just designed to continue to grow and to continue to grow and to continue to grow. Like we cannot settle for mediocrity. This is who we are. The thing that I needed to learn because I have really big issues myself when I was just getting started on those things. It's titled to success. I have to be successful. I have to be successful in these times. I need to make this amount of money in these times. It was just like destroying me. So I needed to transition into something more healthier, which was no, I just need to live every day fulfilled and walk and do things on purpose, knowing that I'm moving in the right direction. That's enough for me. That's enough. Being able to look back and have no regret. Being able to look back and say, no, you're doing the right things.
Yeah. And you did the best you could every day.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna have a constant life of emptiness. This is gonna be constantly. You're gonna feel constantly empty because you don't have that. You're so attached to something that you don't have. Everything is just miserable. Everything is like black and white, and it's just not worth it. It's too much suffering. It's too much. It's just not worth it. You're destroying yourself.
Yeah.
And I say
yeah.
that because I lived that for quite a while.
I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
20-something years of that shit.
There you go.
Makes for a good
So-
story then.
Yeah. That's something that I say to myself as well. If it helps a very difficult, hard time, I said that to myself. What a great bounce back story I'm going to build here. What a great story I'm going to be able to tell how I just came out of this shit. That's what I said to myself. The bigger the shit, the greater the story. It
Yeah.
helps me. It helps me.
And it's true.
Cool. Cool. Good questions. Those are good questions. Deep stuff today, isn't it? Now you got it. What else do we have here? Any other question? Anything else that you guys need help with?
Hey, Pablo, can I ask something?
Of course, my man. What do you got?
All right. So, what's the rationale behind when we are faced with multiple objections? Why are we handling money logistical first and not fear, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a very technical question. So it's not black and white, okay? This is just general guidelines.
Absolutely.
So we want to cover fair logistics as long as it's doable and possible. If the person is emotionally shutting down or is emotionally affected, you want to tackle first the emotion. But if the person is just a little bit nervous but can continue to go, you want to tackle first logistics because by covering the logistics, you regulate their emotional state. That's why when you get a car accident or something, and then the ambulance or whatever just they come, they say, hey, how many fingers you see here? 1 or 2? What's your name? Where do you live? Tell me, because they are trying to make you use the prefrontal cortex so that you don't panic, so that you don't go out of control. We're doing the same shit by covering logistics first. Hey, continue to use your prefrontal cortex. Like, what's available right now? What kind of capital could you come up with if we're able to break this up? Okay, what else? How about 30 days from now? Got you. This and this. We're forcing them to use their logical part of the brain, and that creates that emotional regulation. Yeah. Now, if they're too much, if they're too effective, if they're too trigger emotionally, you gotta cover the emotion. You gotta go and address the emotion, because at that point that you cannot have a rational conversation with someone that is emotionally triggered. We need to take care of the emotion first.
Gotcha. Makes perfect sense. Thank you very much for that.
You got it. You got it. Good question though.